Wouldn't it be nice if underbody noise complaints were this easy to spot in real life? Or this easy? In reality, it's very possible you spend more time trying to identify a noise and its cause than you do repairing the problem. Noise diagnosis is especially difficult when you start with a repair order that doesn't really describe the noise or where it appears to come from. Clear communication with the customer is vital for successfully identifying noise complaints. People perceive noises differently, so one person's description of a noise may not match another person's description of the same noise. It helps to use a worksheet, like the one provided in the Know-How reference manual for this program. Using the worksheet ensures that sufficiently detailed questions are asked to find out exactly what the noise complaint is, where the sound appears to be coming from, and any specific driving conditions which cause the noise to occur. The manual also contains a glossary of noises to help the customer describe exactly what the noise sounds like in standard terms. Of course, some of the best tools for diagnosing noise complaints are your own ears. They can be best put to use by taking a test drive, preferably with the customer present. During the test drive, try to duplicate the conditions that caused the noise to occur. Once a noise condition has been verified and its approximate location is known, refer to the diagnostic flow chart in the reference manual. The chart lists the most commonly reported noises and the conditions most likely to cause them. Where appropriate, the chart also references service bulletins that relate to the repair of the noise conditions. Bulletins can save you time by identifying specific repair procedures, service part numbers, special tools required, and appropriate labor operation numbers. Before you perform a service bulletin procedure, be sure the model year and VIN number information corresponds to the vehicle being serviced. There is a large variety of underbody noises, but the underbody noises most commonly identified on Regal models can be traced to a relatively small number of underbody and suspension components. The Regal has a unique, weight-saving, independent rear suspension system. The monoleaf transverse spring design eliminates the need for individual coil springs at the struts. On many models, additional cushioning is provided at each rear strut by a rubber auxiliary spring with two support brackets that bolt to the strut and the rear suspension spindle rod. On some 1988 through 1991 cars, a clunk or thud noise may be due to a small amount of excess clearance between the auxiliary spring support bracket and the rear spindle rod. The clunk occurs when the suspension receives a sharp road-induced input, such as from driving over a chuck hole or a speed bump. To check for this condition, use a feeler gauge to measure clearance between the spring support bracket and the rear spindle rod. If clearance of more than 0.02 of an inch is found at either bracket, carefully loosen the lower bolt a maximum of 2 turns and allow the lower auxiliary spring bracket to reposition itself against the spindle rod. Then retorque the spring support bolt to 36 pound-feet. That should prevent the noise from reoccurring. During normal suspension movement on some 1988 and 89 cars, contact between the rubber auxiliary spring and the rear of the upper mount bracket can result in a squawk or squeaking noise, particularly when the spring assembly is wet. To eliminate this squawk, use the special auxiliary spring compressor tool to remove the spring assembly and reposition the spring so that it does not contact the rear of the bracket. Then use the spring compressor tool to reinstall the spring assembly. On some 1988 and early 89 cars, a thud noise may be caused by the struts extending to the limit of their travel. The thud is most apparent when the car is turning sharply into a steep corner. This situation is not damaging to the struts. However, the annoying noise condition may be repaired by installing current design replacement struts. The newer struts provide about 3/4 of an inch of additional travel. When replacing rear struts, you should also install 1992 Strut jounce bumper assemblies on both struts. Newly designed jounce bumper service units help prevent strut noise from being transmitted into the car body. Owners of some 1988 to 92 cars may complain of a muted, repetitive thumping or squeaking, or possibly an oil canning noise. That is most apparent when the car is moving at low speed over irregular road surfaces. These noises may be caused by the strut jounce bumper system transmitting the short inputs from the road bumps into the body strut tower. To repair this condition, remove both rear struts and replace the jounce bumper assemblies with 1992 jounce bumper service parts. On early 1988 models, when diagnosis points toward strut noise, check the date code stamped beside the part number at the base of the strut. Struts with Julian date codes between 15087 and 04688 may produce a clunk noise. Struts with date codes between 01688 and 08688 may produce a squeak noise. Noisy struts with these date codes should be replaced. Other suspected strut assemblies should be bench tested to see if they're actually the cause of the noise complaint. When you replace struts, you should also check for correct trim height to ensure the rear spring is correctly installed. A squeaking or itching sound may be heard at the front of some 1990 cars, particularly during tight turning maneuvers. This sound may be caused by the plastic stiffener in the front strut mount cushion moving against the strut rod and/or the strut mount cushion. If this is the case, remove and discard the plastic stiffener. Operating the car without the stiffener does not adversely affect front suspension handling. A squawk noise coming from the front on some cars may be produced by the front insulators. The park brake cable may also cause noise. For example, a loose cable that contacts the underbody as the car is driven may produce a dull rattle noise. Ensure that the cable support brackets are not damaged and the cable grommets are properly installed in the brackets and the cable is lubricated. Park brake cable movements through the grommet in the right side cable support bracket can also cause a squeak or squawk noise. This condition can be easily remedied by applying a good quality lubricant to the cable where it passes through the grommet. The exhaust system is a possible source of some underbody noises. Metallic clunk or thud noise during normal movement on some 1988 to 90 cars may be caused by a loose or misaligned exhaust system contacting the rear stabilizer bar. Check for evidence of this condition by examining the exhaust pipe and stabilizer bar for marks caused by contact. And realign the exhaust system as necessary to provide sufficient clearance. A metallic rattling noise during engine run-up in neutral and during normal driving may be caused by loose cinch nuts in the exhaust intermediate pipe or the underbody hanger brackets. This rattle condition can usually be remedied by tightening the loose nuts and installing washers where required to remove slack. A similar metallic rattling noise may also be caused by loose exhaust system heat shields. To eliminate this rattle, ensure there is adequate clearance between the shields, the underbody, and the exhaust. Heat shield support fasteners should be securely tightened using thread locking compound. Some owners of 1988 and 89 models may complain of a fuel tank oil canning or popping noise. This noise is the result of expansion and contraction of the tank. The movement is due to normal internal pressure produced by the fuel system as the engine is running. The oil canning condition may be resolved by installing a current design tank. The newer tank has additional ribbing on the top and bottom surfaces to limit expansion. In another fuel tank related condition on some 1989 through 91 cars, a creak or groan noise may be caused by the front flange of the fuel tank contacting the rear underbody crossbar. This contact is most likely to occur during a twisting motion, such as when the car is turning up a steep incline. Depending on the build date of the car, this condition may be repaired by replacing the fuel tank support straps, or by installing new straps and strap spacers. If the car was built prior to the VIN breakpoint, support the tank and install current design fuel tank strap spacers and coated straps. On cars assembled after the VIN breakpoint, the groan condition is repaired by replacing only the fuel tank support straps and reusing the existing spacers. Ensure there is clearance of at least 4 millimeters between the fuel tank flange and the crossbar before torquing the strap retaining bolts. Many noise complaints and their causes may seem very trivial when compared to some of the more serious conditions you encounter. However, to the customer who is invested in a quality product, something as simple as a rattle caused by a loose jack handle can be just as annoying as a severe drivability problem. So to ensure customer satisfaction, even minor noise complaints should be handled with the same care which has made Buick America's symbol of quality.